I was looking at a report recently on Science News, right? And on Science News, when I checked this out, I said, I have to do a video on this because this is something that I've seen happening at dealerships all around the country because AI is that shiny new thing. And, does it have benefits to it? It can when used the right way. But what's happening right now, it is in such an infantile stage. And yet everybody proclaims that they're an AI pro because they believe that if you just ask the AI question, it's going to kick out the right thing to say and the right thing to do. And that's all I have to do now. And what's happening is sales at dealerships are plummeting. Margins are getting smaller. And I've even got reports about stores who have been utilizing AI in response to customers visiting the store or responding to emails. And it is horrible. And here's why. Think about how many years, especially in our industry, it has been preached and stressed how important it is to make a personal connection with your customer, to make a personal connection with that guest. Matter of fact, for years, we've developed the processes to make it more personal, from changing the words that we say, from contracts to agreements, from finance, from F&I to business manager, to go from wearing shirts and ties and suits every day to wearing polos to help the customer feel more comfortable as opposed to thinking they're going to deal with a stockbroker or a banker or a mortician. So we've taken the steps to make it more personal. And then what happens? We take the most impersonal thing, which is a piece of software, and now we leverage that to enhance our personal connections. I've seen sales teams at dealerships that somebody in leadership decided, let's get AI to kick us out of sales script and let's give this to our people with no trial, no data to back it up, anything. Just because ChatGPT kicks it out, it must be the right thing to say. In reality, ChatGPT will only kick out the information based on commands that are submitted to it. And it is far deeper than just give me a good sales script. That is not the way this software works. As a matter of fact, if it is being used as the end all be all of what should be said and what should be done for your sales team or for a sales team, or if you're a salesperson and you're using that against the gospel, man, you really need to cut back. The one benefit that Chat GPT or AI can give you in that aspect is, let's just say if you are looking for an idea for an email you want to send out, or an idea for an article or a post you want to make, you might ask it, what are 3 good posts relevant to Toyotas, Fords, or Chevys that would help consumers? And then you might see those topics, and then you might put a post out on that to be able to provide valuable information to people who either have one or may be interested in having one, to be able to attract attention to yourself or whatever you want to use it for. Maybe just as an idea generator, and then you build off of that. Same thing when it comes to processes. It is not there to give you the A through Z steps on how to do the process effectively. It'll give you out what's been fed into it that the processes are or should be or could be. But you have no idea where those came from. You got people all over the world that is leveraging this technology, that is inputting data into it, whether it be right and validated or not. And so it only kicks out what it's been fed. When all of these years, the focus has been on that personal touch. And as a matter of fact, what this article here stresses, and I'm going to show it on full screen, the article here states that as AI, and I'm looking right here beneath the picture, beneath where it says Nokia, as AI becomes increasingly realistic, our trust in those with whom we communicate may be compromised. Researchers at the University of Gothenburg have examined how advanced AI systems impact our trust in the individuals that we are interacting with. So now let's think about it like this. Remember when email first started? Man, people would open every email they got back in the 90s because spamming wasn't a thing yet, and you trusted the email. Think about the internet. And certain people would leverage this. They might have a website that's about something that really is about one thing, but the internet was in such an infantile stage in it that you could just load all types of keywords in the back of a site that aren't even relevant and just attract people to it. Or you could send somebody an email message and they would open it with no fear of it being spam or having viruses or whatnot. We were all trusting until we weren't anymore. The same thing is happening now. All of these videos on the internet and all of these promoters that, hey, we're using AI. Hey, we're doing this AI. The same consumers that are coming into your store, they're looking at it too. So now every email, they're scrutinizing it. Every post, they're scrutinizing it. And I'm not sure how many of you may have paid attention, but if you really pay attention, man, you can start being able to see who's leveraging AI or ChatGPT and who's actually putting some human interaction to it. One tell sign is this, and if you're doing this, you need to stop. You put something in ChatGPT, it'll give you back some writing or something. It puts these little emoji images in the end of the paragraph or at the end of the subject header or whatever. And people just copy paste it and throw it up. In real life, half of those emojis that you see on there, you'd have to dig, and people don't even use in real life. But ChatGPT says, add this in, it must be popular. Not knowing that adding those extra little emojis can create such a mistrust or a distrust in your consumer that you lose them. Start paying attention and look at people's posts, because it's caused me to do it. So now, if our whole focus has been to make it more personal for our customers, now we've thrown another monkey wrench in there and we're letting the world know that, hey, we're using this non-personal component to communicate and help you buy. They're saying, whoa. So now there's more mistrust. And here's another downside of it. And let me see if I can get to this. I'll share this with you. Okay. Now, the way that, and this article, let me make sure I got this right. Michael Chang from TechTie. Okay. And if you look up TechTie, they're a very reputable organization that gives the ins and outs on where technology is going. And this article says the impact of artificial intelligence on human society and bioethics. Now, what this article points out is the fact that as consumers learn more about AI and companies use more AI, guess what happens to the ability to have that human interaction? If you think people on your sales team are struggling or afraid to communicate with people now, the more distance we create between the necessity for them to do that, giving them the right skills to do that effectively, and to do it in a way that establishes value and builds trust, the further away we get them from that, whenever we do need them to do it, the more disconnected and the harder it's going to be, because humans are going to be humans regardless. No matter what new shiny toys we throw in the mix, at the end of the day, there's going to always be somebody with a problem, somebody with a solution, and an individual.
Did you know, according to a recent Forbes article, 58% of customers will pay more for better customer service? As the automotive market gets more competitive, sales training is more important than ever. This is where Brian Maxwell comes in. For over a decade, Brian Maxwell provides sales training for some of the biggest dealer groups in the country, and for manufacturers such as Ford, Chevy, Toyota, and many others. Brian has also trained over 10,000 automotive sales associates worldwide. Brian Maxwell's value is in the fact that he provides real-world, simple-to-follow, and easy-to-apply sales training to your team. His training helps sales teams convert consistently with higher profit margins and how to leverage social media to generate qualified leads. He does this by applying all aspects of learning, utilizing classroom training, role-playing, and one-on-one evaluations. This allows your sales teams to hear, see, and apply selling methods that flat out work. Knowing that results and profits are the only way to establish a long-term working relationship, Brian Maxwell's focus is results and profit-orientated. So, if you'd like to supercharge the customer experience, your sales team's production, and your bottom line, schedule a time for a consultation with Brian Maxwell today.
Individual to bridge the gap between the two, and how articulate we are, how skilled we are at being able to identify a need or the amplitude of the need and provide a solution for it is determined by our ability to communicate. When I say communicate, it's not just talking, it's listening and speaking. And so what AI does, it distances that. The more things you have your AI do that you don't train your sales team to do, like the fact that certain people don't have no idea how to send an email, they go to chat or they go to the AI and they let that communicate with their customer. It's no different than those chat bots that are on people's websites when you go with that avatar of the fake person that you know is not really there. And no matter what type of question you put in there, it's going to kick you back these canned responses where now when you go, people don't even pay attention to those anymore. Have you noticed that? When was the last time you communicated with a chatbot? No. Even when we make phone calls, remember there was a time when you could make a phone call and you could get to customer service, but you were speaking with somebody who at least seemed like they were familiar with what's going on or from the area or from the place where you did the business. Now, when you call, you're speaking to somebody in a whole other country about an issue you've got in your backyard, and that creates distrust, mistrust, and customers dislike it. And so now, in an industry like the automotive industry, where trust is already hanging on by a very small, by a short thread, we throw another monkey wrench in there to create more disconnect, to create less communication, to make it that much harder to establish that personal connection. And that's why at a lot of stores, you see so many one and dones. Yeah, they got the one customer sale, but they're never coming back here again. They're going to the next store, buying one and done. Why? Because there is no connection. There is no loyalty. There is no human interaction. The person they bought it from, they bought it either because they were sick and tired of running around, or y'all had it cheaper than everybody else. But what happened to the ability for somebody to feel where that law of reciprocity is used and your customer does business with you? Yes, because you got what they need. Yes, because it's within a budget range that they can afford. But more than any of that, because you earned that business and you made them feel such a way that they want other people to feel that way. So they tell other people and they tell other people. Because one thing I'm noticing from store to store I'm at, the 25 and up, I say the 20 and up producers are not lot lizards. Those are some of the best communicators in the store. And guess what? They get the most repeat business, has the highest closing percentages, and make the most money. Why? Because of their ability to communicate. If they leverage the technology, it's just to get an idea and add their human interaction to it. And then you have others who rely solely on that impersonal piece of software to give them the ability to be more personal. And it's nuts. As a matter of fact, here's one prediction I'm going to make. In the next couple of years, the hunger will be so strong for live human interaction, whether that's coaching, whether that's the salesperson. Think about the Carvana effect. When Carvana first came out, everybody thought that was the end of all dealerships. That was it. It was the greatest thing. It's the internet. People don't have to touch it. We tried that. Now, after that bad taste in people's mouth, it's not that they no longer want to order online. It's that now, if they're going to order online, they want some human interaction, someplace they can go, somebody they can speak with, somebody they can communicate with if there's a problem. Not if everything goes right, but if there's a problem. And we all know that people's tendency is to think negatively before positively for most people. So, of course, their decision of buying is going to be, what if I have a problem? Man, I'm unable to reach out to them. But at least with these folks, I'll order it through them on their site, but I can go touch them, talk to them, and see them if I need to. And that's what it's about. So the technology, I'm all about technology. You know, I'm somebody that is on the internet. I train at these stores live and in person, which yields tremendous results, because when I find businesses that are putting their salespeople in front of a computer to learn how to be more personal with customers, how is that computer helping them? All they're doing is looking and listening. There's no interaction. There's no role play with that system. There's nobody to be there and hear them say something and say, ooh, now you said the right thing, but your face didn't match. Or, ooh, you said the right thing, but your tonality when you do that needs to be increased or decreased. I know I say, oh, man, look at how you're sitting when you're speaking to them. You want to be postured this way to see more. There's none of that, because it's only a one-way street. And then they wonder why they're spending $100,000, $50,000 on these online modules. And yet, not only do sales not seem to be increasing, they're decreasing. Not only do margins seem to be decreasing, they're plummeting. Why? Because the one thing that we know that will always be there will be that people buy from those businesses and people that they like and they trust. And so we're all in the same space, same society. And so everybody's seeing all of this AI stuff. So what is it that your store or that you're doing to help your team stand out? What are you doing to help that human interaction? What are you doing to make their skill set, their ability to communicate? And remember, when I say communicate, that is listening and speaking. Because when I was new to sales, I thought selling was about having the gift of gab. And it's really not. It's about having the gift of listening. Remember, good salespeople practice what to say. The great ones practice what to ask. And these studies, whether it be from from Science News or from other organizations and do your own research. I mean, even recently, the president just signed into effect the an executive order for AI. Why? Because they see the issues, the potential dangers. And so now they're trying to put reins on it right now because people have no idea where this is going. And it's in its infant stages. And here's another kicker. And think about it like this. And if you are in upper management of the dealership, you know what I'm about to say is factual. There are sales teams that don't even know how to use their CMS or CRM, what people want to call it, or their CMS, customer management system. They don't even know how to use their e-leads and all that stuff the full, efficient, and effective way. And now you're going to throw AI in, which is in infant stages. People have no idea. People don't, you got all of these commands and prompts that you need to even make this thing work. And you take something and you give it to the average person, and now everybody's an AI pro. And you got folks selling these services to dealerships. They're paying money for somebody to do something that an AI bot is doing with no data to back it up. You have no idea if it's hurting your customer trust, how your customers are looking at it. Can they tell it's fake? All of these things matter. All of these things matter. And there's still a lot of dealerships who believe in the traditional on-site, one-on-one type of training for their team, even their one-on-one type coaching for their staff. When it comes to doing certain marketing things, yes, they have people that might leverage the AI or the chat GPT for the idea, but that human interaction, that human emotion, that personal touch in it, that can help that reader connect. These things matter. And the businesses and the teams, the sales teams that still keep that as the premise, as their foundation, will blow the doors off of everybody else. You just watch. You just watch. And that's why in my travels, I'm fortunate. I'm in dealerships all across the country in different type of demographics, geographical locations, and I'm able to see what's working and what's not. I'm able to implement certain things in areas that just blow the doors off, depending on the management, the leadership, and the infrastructure, and other places where you could bring them the golden ticket sales process programs and the ways, but the infrastructure, the business is set up in a way that nobody will follow up with it. Nobody will use it. And guess what? No matter what you do, until they get a whole new team, new management staff, nothing's going to work there until the owners realize, man, you're headed one direction fast. And if you don't do something, you could crash and burn. Research the stores that are at the top in your city. Ask them, what type of training are they doing for their team? Are they sitting them in front of computer modules, or do they have that live person, somebody like myself, coming in there? Even interview processes. The stores that are hiring the best teams, think about it. Are they just leveraging these online ads and running this crap, and then just got somebody coming in, meet with one of their sales managers who is not trained in how to do interviews and identify certain personality traits and really look for the right thing? Matter of fact, they don't have time. They got deals they got to desk. So they're having a 15 or a 20-minute conversation, running this person through the background check, bringing them in just to find out that person should probably never have been in there in the first place. But if you're not able to spend that time with them and have that human connection and ask the right questions to identify what's really going on, the store will end up suffering. And at the end of the day, there was a study done. Let me see if I can find this. And it was by JM&A. And I believe this is it. Let me see if this is it. And it talks about the cost of what it is to hire a salesperson at the dealership. At the dealership, let me see if I can find this. I believe this is it. Let me see if I add it to the stage. That's it. No, that's not it. I got it in here somewhere, but it costs an average of $10,000 per new hire salesperson. So imagine a store that hires just 10 people a year. That's it. That's only have to hire 10 new people a year. That's $100,000 investment. $100,000 investment. Now, let's just say, I'm going to be very, very conservative. Let's say that the store is only running $1,000 per copy. Okay, be pretty low, very minimal. So that way it helps stick. $1,000 per copy. Okay, and let's say each one of these 10 new hires blew out 10 customers. And we're talking about for the whole year. You only hired 10 new people, and they only had 10 customers each that blew out, didn't buy anything, didn't go all the way through the process. Okay, at $1,000 per copy. At $1,000 per copy. Okay. So do the math on that. So that's 10 people you hire at an average of $10,000 each to hire them, says JM&A. That's $100,000 investment on hiring. Each of these 10 had 10 customers that blew out. So that's 100 customers at $1,000 per copy that was lost. That's another $100,000. So that's a $200,000 loss, net loss. Just off if you only hire 10 people throughout the year and they only blew out 10 customers each. That's a loss of $200,000 right there. So when certain companies feel like they don't have it in the budget, no, it's in the budget. It's just walking out the door. And so please be cautious of AI. If you have the opportunity to have someone, listen, as much as I love to do business, I know I'm not for everybody. As a matter of fact, there are certain stores and business people that I won't do any business with at all because the management team sucks and it don't matter what happens there, they're going to fail. And I'd rather them blow that GM and those management out of there. And if they get a new team in there, I'll consider coming over. Period. So, but if you are somebody out there and you know you either just took over that GM spot at your store or you know that you've been trending downward, you know that if you're hitting the same sales numbers you did last year, you're really on the way out the door, as opposed to waiting until it's too late. Reach out to somebody, whether it be myself. There's a lot of other really awesome people out there that can come in and rock and roll that store for you. It's what we do. We have a track record. We have other people that deal with us for years because of the trackable and profitable results. And you can have the same thing. But if we keep looking at this piece of software that's going to help your team be more personal and more personable, that just doesn't make sense. How can something impersonal make somebody else more personal? And it's just another shiny new thing. And you know how the automotive industry is, man. We jump on the shiny new thing. Nobody fully understands it. Next thing you know, it's just there. A lot of money, a lot of wasted time, a lot of blown out customers, all for what? And it don't have to be that way. So if you haven't looked at AI this way, please look at it that way. It does not just kick out sales scripts. It does not just kick out emails. It only kicks out the data that had been fed into it around the world about what other different people think is good. And it kicks you out when it scrambles all of that together and kicks you out what it thinks is best. But what data do you have to know if that's right or incorrect? And you could do the trial and error thing, but how much could that cost you? Or you can have somebody who has a track record, who has the word tracks, who has the data to back it up, that can instill that in your team. If they have a question, they can bounce it off. If they're going through something, that human interaction can help them be more prepared for the real thing. Because when they're in front of a real customer, they can't hit reset. They can't hit pause and just step away. That's real life. And every misstep a salesperson makes, credibility and trust drop. How much could that be costing your business? How much could that be costing your dealership? And if you're in sales, how much could that be costing you? So again, this is just to jump on here and say, listen, AI, can see some benefits of it just for ideas, brainstorming. Now, if you're on the, let's say, inventory side, where there has human interaction is not important, but it's about maintaining certain data, man, when you get AI set up the right way with that, because that's not about personal touch. That's not about human interaction. That is, 1 + 1 = 2. That is really cut and dry. For the data side, for inventory, for tracking, I believe it's awesome when it's set up right. But when it comes to human interaction on the phone or in person, how can that computer, how can that software ever teach your people how to be more personal? And let me explain what I see, and you probably know this. The personal training that people are getting at a lot of dealerships that have yet to embrace having someone work with their team in their morning meetings. And folks, I hear this from salespeople around the country. They'll say, Brian, I learn more from your videos than I do working at my store, and I've been here for a year. Why? Because in the sales meeting, the manager spends 30 minutes chewing out ass, and then the last 30 minutes, hey, now we need to make sure we're closing and make sure we're overcoming objections. No word tracks are given out. No role plays in front of the group to make sure that when you go out there to do it, that it's fluent. None of that. There's no time. There's no time. Everybody got to get back out there to the floor. And so we just rush. Hey, get in front of people, get in front of people, get in front of people. No matter how much it's costing, when we just pull that back a little bit, Hey, certain people might need to go get in front of some people because there's parts of the day we know that the store is not busy. Why aren't they getting some training done? Why aren't they role playing? Why aren't they in an environment going through as real of life situation as possible so that when they do get a real opportunity on the line, they're not testing out their new stuff there. There's a reason why athletes practice. So when it's in the game, it's second nature. That's the reason. And I get it. I get it. It's a lot of fear out there. How do you know who to trust? How do you know who you can invest in that you're going to really get a return on that? How do you know that it works? And that's why you're doing your due diligence. And one easy thing you can do is when you look at people's social media page, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, whether it's YouTube, look and see, do you see them in any dealerships doing any training, not walking through, just taking a picture? Are they actually training people? Do you see them in the store? Do you listen to their content? How consistent is it? How long have they been around? Do other dealerships that they work with, that they say they work with, vouch for this person, validate this person? If not, then you got your answer. But when you see somebody and you listen to what they say and you know what they're saying is on point, you can feel the energy that they're conveying through their information. So you know if it translates to you, it'll easily translate and disseminate to the team. You can see online that they do work with other dealerships and businesses, providing and presenting and training people and giving them this information to help them perform better. You see it, then you have your answer there too. The next thing would just be about making sure that your budget fits what you're expecting. See, a lot of stores want to spend minimal price for maximum profits. And if that was the way of the world, because we all want that, but you typically get what you pay for because the person or that does provide the information and the training, they know their worth too. They know that their time is valuable too. So they're not going to put themselves anywhere. They're not going to walk over dollars to pick up dimes. Why? Because they know the value they bring. And anybody that is willing to walk over dollars to pick up dimes and spend their time somewhere for minimal dollars, how valuable is the information that they're presenting? So it can be tough out there, but you just have to do your due diligence. And I assure you, when you find that person and they do present themselves and they do authenticate themselves and they help generate whatever results you wanted, man, keep that relationship. You might not need to bring them every month. You might only bring them in once a quarter or her in once a quarter. Hell, it might be twice a year. But you know, whenever they come in with that thunder and it rejuvenates, energizes the team, and you benefit from it. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. AI is cool, and it can be beneficial for certain data purposes, inventory purposes. But as far as human interaction, an impersonal machine will never be able to show a human how to interact with another human better than another human. And, whether you agree, tell me about it. If you disagree, tell me about it. Remember to like, share this video, comment on this video. I appreciate you for taking time out to watch. Again, I'm Brian Maxwell, and I look forward to seeing you at the dealership. Over and out.